The rise of alternative forms of family structures, the call for feminism, and the hero worship of the downtrodden has created, over the decades, a loss of necessity for a figure to hold the glue of a family together. And a father has a special calling to be that glue. Some argue that a father isn't important, and that single mothers do it just as well. However, the statistics just don't show it. There is no shortage of adoration for single mothers, and for good reason. It's much less likely for a single mother to raise herself above the poverty line. She has the responsibility of raising her children, at least the majority of time, on her own. To ground through that fight, day in and day out, trying her hardest to raise well-adjusted children is admirable and can be successful. But what if we stopped looking at the compromises and started holding our society to a higher standard? What if we took the time to mull over what a father is and why he might be vital to the family unit? After all, the family unit is the smallest form of government in our lives. We as individuals have responsibility to our society, and it is the family unit that takes care of and instills values in new individuals who have not yet contributed to society. If we get the beginning years wrong, we've set that person and our society back decades. Just take a look at the statistics. The U.S. Census Bureau in 2012 claims 33% of children live absent of their biological father, 57% of black children, 31% of Hispanic children, and 20% of white children are living absent their biological fathers. With the increasing number of premarital births and a continuing high divorce rate, the proportion of children living with just one parent rose from 9% in 1960 to 20% in 2012. Currently, 55% of all black children, 31% of all Hispanic children, and 20% of all white children are living in single-parent homes. As per the National Center for Fathering, fatherless families are 44% more likely to raise children living in poverty. 71% of all adolescent substance abusers come from fatherless homes. They're twice as likely to commit suicide. 80% in psych hospitals are from fatherless homes. They're 9 times more likely to drop out of school. 70% in juvenile correctional facilities come from fatherless homes. 60% of rapists come from fatherless homes. They're 20 times more likely to be incarcerated. 70% of teen pregnancies come from fatherless homes. And 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes, which is 20 times the average. When looking at the comparison, we have 33% of our children that are supporting statistics such as 85% of all children who show behavior disorders. While the statistics can more or less change to some degree, you can't deny the effect of a father has on the children in the family. No respectable study shows that children are better off without a biological father. So why is a father important? What exactly makes him different from a mother? A father is a man, and that man was raised from being a boy. And a man in general carries certain characteristics. Often, the father is looked to as more than just the breadwinner. Bringing home the majority paycheck is deeply innate within a man, but it does not finish the story. Instead, we forget that a father is looked to as the authority of discipline. In general, women have instincts of nourishing and comforting their children. They focus on emotional well-being and care for the happiness of the children. Men in general tend to focus on direction, obedience, action, and behavior. Is it any wonder that the stats show lack of direction in youth who grew up without fathers? To create strong, productive, ambitious men, they need to be taught as boys. Every boy is searching for that father figure to look up to and admire. This is why superhero stories are so popular and are only growing. The superhero is the archetypal man, a masculine figure who has decided to take the world upon his shoulders and stand with courage in the face of unyielding odds. The superhero is an individual man, relying on himself and, when necessary, his teammates, in order to defeat evil and help others. This is what the vast majority of boys sense deep within themselves. They want to do something great. They want to help others and save the world. They might do this through feats of strength, science, philosophy, laws, or politics. It's not just with the bicep that the world has changed for the better, but without the strong father figure, they're required to see this archetype only in the imagination. There's no real-world connection to the image, no person who is personifying the idea. For most people, it takes seeing a person doing something to understand it is achievable. First 1,000-pound deadlift was complete in 2006, which means decades of no one getting there. However, now we have 4 different men who have broken that record. We have the trailblazers who build on the backs of others and go one step further, which paves the trail for the next crew to come in and go even farther. Boys need the leader who is building on the backs of what was taught to him. This is why traditional cultures honor the succession of fathers. It's not because of the patriarchy, but because it is most often through men that our values, beliefs, and traditions are internalized and upheld. As fathers, we must focus on the lessons our fathers taught us and do everything in our power to bring those lessons to our sons and daughters. The loss of our fathers signals the loss of masculine direction, and that is what gives rise to toxic masculinity as well as toxic femininity. The statistics bear this out. Father may have more emotions than another, he may be more strict than another, or he might stay home and cook and clean while the mother earns the paycheck. But it is that masculine support, the sense that we are protected and guided by a loving strength that raises us with healthy aspirations. A true father has children who feel safe in his home. They may safely live and grow, free from the dangers of the jungle around them. As well, children deep down crave structure and rules. Shows a child they have worth and value, that they are loved enough to be corrected. It also shows faith in the boy or girl's potential. But if we allow this to fall apart and dissolve, we will reap harvests that we sow. We've already seen the fallout from no-fault divorce, which exploded the single-parent household rates, and interestingly, preceded the sexual revolution, which was followed by Roe v. Wade, and also followed by the drug culture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And today, we're dealing with the opioid and alcohol crisis. The decay of the family unit is the decay of the vehicle through which a society and culture's mores are passed down. Without it, we're free to indulge our baser desires, and Western civilization is brimming with the grabbing of immediate pleasure and desire.